Hey guys, welcome back to the Friday Vlog, where we discuss activity that goes on here with the BuzWeaver channel. That includes things like current events, headlines in the news, pop culture, social media, technology, and items of interest that come up during the week that allow us to have a little bit of a dialogue. That would include things like shorts, as well as community posts, particularly on YouTube, but you guys across New Tech also get the shorts. They made some changes to shorts on YouTube, which is kind of interesting, but nonetheless, I digress. But I do want to thank all of you guys across New Tech, as well as everyone here on YouTube, for your guys' continued support.
We start things off from Mediaite. Democrats are realizing woke is broke. Morning Joe crew reads entire Maureen Dowd column slamming identity politics. So here it is. The left is now realizing that the establishment uniparty, of course, was leading them, I would say, by a carrot on a stick. And this is what the result was, is that once the left had hijacked our culture, our institutions, and justice system, then they knew that, of course, all that was left was free speech or speech itself. But, of course, they tried all these different angles, and it just wasn't working. You know, the idea was to shame and to cancel and to criticize and even remove people from their banking institutions or have banks drop individuals from their institutions, like we saw with Laura Loomer and with 𝐀𝐦𝐚𝐳𝐬𝐧. It's absolutely extraordinary. Morning Joe host Mika Brzezinski took the unprecedented step of reading out the New York Times opinion columnist Maureen Dowd's indictment of how identity politics hammered the Democratic election bid. Absolutely. People were tired of the whole Latinx this and the categories, the stereotyping, the whole ideology, philosophy, and worldview of the left. Because, of course, in 2016, they were upset, right? Psychologically and emotionally, they could not rationalize that Donald Trump had won the election. So all they could do was try to just attack at all angles. And, of course, they went with wokeism, cancel culture. And if you didn't agree with them, they would shut you down. And that's where we get the categorizing and the stereotyping, the labeling, you know, where they would shame people into, you know, disappearing and of course, all the censorship and bannings that happened across social media. You know, this was all discovered, as we saw in the video that I released earlier on Donald Trump saying that he was going to reform Section 230 because of just the abuse that was going on. It's absolutely extraordinary. We'll get to that video here in a moment. But I just want to go down and just see the impact that this has had, the ideology, the philosophy, and worldview of the left. As you see MSNBC ratings collapse, you see Joy Reid, Ari Melber, and all these individuals just tanking in their ratings, and how it's just sinking. And the thing is, they knew it the whole time, because as you'll see from their video, of course, I think they probably wanted to quote Dow because they didn't want to have to come out and admit it themselves, but it's absolutely extraordinary. And from Politico, we know what is coming. Federal bureaucrats wrestling with fight or flight response to Trump election. Yeah, the people that were all assets within the establishment uniparty are going to be leaving. They're going to be getting out of there. Thousands of federal employees have lived through one Donald Trump administration. Many are not sure they can or will survive a second. It's absolutely amazing. Oh, by the way, we're using OBS software today because I'm still working through the issues with NVIDIA, as though if that was important to anyone. But if you're wondering why I'm kind of looking around or maybe doing things a little bit oddly, I'm having to adjust to the fact that I'm using OBS software. But at least the sound quality will be better. And then we have here from this particular creator, it's really over, folks. Trump and Elon are done. No matter who you voted for, these two are going to prison. Kamala is a master prosecutor. Patience is a virtue. So he just took like some various clips here.
Our little secret, we're going to do really well with the House, right?
Right, so a little secret.
My instruction, we don't need the votes. I have so many votes.
Yeah, we don't need to vote, so many votes. So they're just trying to take these little clips out of context as to what Trump was saying and suggesting that, you know, very similar to what they were doing, right? You know, because they were accusing Donald Trump of election denying and all these sorts of things. And we'll get to that here in a moment. But look at the difference here. This was something that was posted by In Wokeness. And it was extraordinary. Right there you can see, I think someone said this was around 2 or 3 in the morning when the dumps were coming in. And I remember watching. I was up like 3:34 in the morning, and it was MSNBC with Rachel Maddow. And it was one of the guys reporting on the ground there at one of the, I don't know if it was in Wisconsin, though, but he was on the ground reporting. And then you see 3 and 4 and 5 different box trucks show up at this particular facility. It was absolutely extraordinary. But it's amazing to see this large jump, right, in those mail dumps, because that was the game in 2020. It was all about the ground game by the Democrats, getting out there, harvesting ballots, mail-in ballots. Then, of course, COVID came along, which just kind of codified it all and just made it absolutely possible for them to frighten people into thinking, no, you don't want to go out and vote. You need to do this all by mail. And many voters were voting for the very first time. So, it was those parents out there with adult children that the Democrats were encouraging them to get them their ballots, as it were, as we saw with one of the girls from The View, where she was saying, I voted for my son. These sorts of things were going on. They would get the mail-in ballot. The parent would help them fill it out. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, help them fill it out. And then, of course, they would just then mail it, in states that allowed for ballot harvesting, that sort of thing, so that their parents would be able to. Sunny Houston. And we, of course, covered that video in a short where she specifically said, I voted for my son. Now, of course, it was reinterpreted, of course, as no. He voted, and then I took the ballot for him. But nonetheless, she said what she said because it was just the whole premise was, of course, as the Democrats were strategizing, was to get Democrat families to get their adult children to get mail-in ballots, or even whomever they could influence. Right, that was the whole thing. And then I found this fascinating too. Breaking from Simon Atebe. MSNBC Lawrence O'Donnell claims Elon Musk suffered a humiliating demotion today at the hands of real Donald Trump, who appointed him and Vivek Ramaswamy to a fictional office, one that doesn't exist, and would require an act of Congress and budget to create. Really? And then I said, is that right? What's that, Lawrence? An office that doesn't exist? Where were you 4 years ago when the minute that the states were called, Joe Biden was speaking from the office of the president-elect? What's that? Yeah, there's no such thing as the office of the president-elect. And I kept saying, and I've been tweeting, or Xing, as it were, that Donald Trump should have the same thing, just to burn them up, just to because look at Lawrence over here trying to claim. Now, he went on for 8 minutes. He went on an 8-minute rant, this smug, snarky, condescending. Elon Musk has been demoted. He's been humiliated by doing this. Now, it is only a temporary appointment for them as they involve in the Department of Government Efficiency, which I kind of think is funny because government and efficiency are kind of an oxymoron. But and then of course just the reaction now with Donald Trump having met with Joe Biden today. What a difference! Dana Besh marvels at Biden meeting Trump at White House after Trump snubbed in 2020. So you see, it's okay for them to make these comments about Donald Trump. It was okay for them to make these challenges and their own election denying, right? A CNN panel on Wednesday marveled at President-elect Donald Trump being greeted at the Oval Office by outgoing President Joe Biden, despite the fact that Trump refused to offer him the same courtesy after Biden's win in 2020. Well, the level of how Donald Trump was mistreated and abused, lawfare, and everything that was going on, the smear tactics, the tabloid, the nonsense, and the cases that need to all be dropped because of prosecutorial misconduct is absolutely evident. But now, getting back to our main story here, this blew me away. I think they had to read it from Dowd because they just couldn't admit it themselves.
We want to get to the Maureen Dowd piece. We're going to do something a little different this morning because we're going to read the entire piece, but it's worth it. I think a lot of people have
I'm not going to show the whole piece.
Already been talking about this. We got a lot of calls about this piece, and it's a interesting message for Democrats. Maureen Dowd's piece for the New York Times entitled Democrats and the Case of Mistaken Identity Politics. It really crystallized how some Democrats are finally waking up and realizing that woke is broke. And Maureen writes this: Donald Trump won a majority of white women and remarkable numbers of Black and Latino voters and young men. Democratic insiders thought people would vote for Kamala Harris even if they didn't like her, to get rid of Trump. But more people ended up voting for Trump, even though many didn't like him, because they liked the Democratic Party less. I've often talked about how my dad stayed up all night.
All right, so you get the idea here. So they're finally coming to understand. Now, if you guys want to check it out, you can go to Mediaite and look up or just Google Mediaite, Democrats are realizing woke is broke. And you can read it. It's definitely worth watching. It is absolutely stunning that the left has come to this realization that their ideology, their philosophy, their worldview, and as we have said just in the voting here, let me go to the BuzWeaver archives here real quick, and we can see from the decision desk, decision desk here, yeah, right, from the BuzWeaver archives, when we go to results, and we can see the mandate, the popular vote, 75,621,950 votes in the popular vote, which is why I think a lot of cities are not burning right now because of the fact that he won the popular vote. And look at this. Washington is still counting. They're at 90%. And then Oregon's at 89%. California is at 81%. And then, of course, Alaska, which is, red, is only at 86%. It's amazing to see how some of these blue states are still counting. Now, the default is 95%, 94% because everything has already been called. But it's just amazing to think that these states are still counting votes. You would think California would just say, okay, we're done, it's over with. But if they want to continue to count the votes, it's estimated that Trump could be, someone was saying something like 78 million in the popular vote. That's absolutely extraordinary. But it's all fascinating how this is all coming together now. I almost feel vindicated. Don't you guys kind of feel vindicated? Let me know down in the comment section. Of course, hit that like button if you feel vindicated from all that, man. Oh, man. Okay, and that's what I have for you guys this Friday.
All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this Friday vlog. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the comments. Below this video, you can find the various social media links that I belong to, so I would encourage you guys to follow me there. And if you order frequently from Amazon or are a Prime member, then by all means, you can use my landing page link to place your orders, watch your videos, and that sort of thing. It does help out the channel. But of course, all you guys participating, your likes, your shares, and your comments do help out the channel, and it's greatly appreciated. But I do want to thank all of you guys because it's been a very interesting 2024, and I'm happy with the results, as I think many of you guys are as well. But guys, thank you so very much for the continued support throughout 2024 and the rest of the year. So it's looking very interesting from here on out. So appearing there on the screen, that would be the channel icon. You guys can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That way you know there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys behind the Galaxy phone camera next week.